what is happening to them, what is their fate. I think he's done very well. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Naseem Sadiq Saab. Now I would like to go to the regular panel, and I would like to invite Dr. Safdar Sohail to make his presentation. The rules are that you only have, Safdar Saab, you only have 5 to 7 minutes. Dr. Safdar, you have a very long paper. I am again, once again, reiterating.
I'm not listening.
Okay.
Because, well, first of all, I need to thank Dr. Ejaz and Dr. Naveed for organizing this wonderful conference. This is my second home. For me, it's a homecoming. We started Dr. Ejaz Sab ke Saath NSPP Public Policy Conference 2 years before. I'm very happy that the tradition is continuing. The topic of food security was suggested by Dr. Ejaz as the next conference topic, you remember, 2 years before. So excited to be here. Slightly dismayed on Dr. Shujat's insistence on 5 to 7 minutes, because what we were told was that the discussants would have 5 to 7 minutes, but the presenters, the panelists, would have 15 minutes.
The whole session is for 45 minutes, as per the...
I think 1 hour 45 minutes. The organizers can explain, but I'll try to be quick, because I can see a lot of esteemed guests here. And as Dr. Shujat has hinted, for me this is a conference paper, draft conference paper, work in progress, which I would thank in advance the esteemed discussants to have gone through it and look forward to their comments, and would certainly develop it further for publication, Dr. Naveed. Given the positive time, I will take a little bit more time on the introduction and conclusion, and then we would go through the presentation quickly. Now, the starting point, when I left NSPP and went back to Islamabad, we had already established a think tank on social protection. For me, hunger is a social protection issue, the ultimate social protection issue. Hunger is the ultimate social protection issue. And when we all know, Naseem Sadiq Saab has very finely explained the context. So we know what is written in the staff level agreement with IMF, which basically stipulates or mandates further liberalization of commodities, particularly wheat. And the operation is already underway, as we all know. So our existing social protection system is already charity based. Now, as a nation, have we decided that in future our poor people would meet their hunger through charity of the local people, of the government, the social politics of welfare that we see? We have seen very recently also where the cost of atta is less than the cost of delivery of atta to the household of BIS beneficiaries. Now, if we want to do that, that basically means that we are chipping away now finally the final bricks of our social market economy in Pakistan that we had since the beginning, and our constitution guarantees against hunger to the ordinary people. But how do we do that? Before doing that, this paper seeks to study the global South and North tendencies. And in the paper, I have tried to suggest that in Europe in particular, the relationship with land is changing. Relationship with production is changing, and the so-called producerism that we have been talking about for the last 200 years, productionism as we say, that you produce for the profit, is changing. And the term, for the lack of better term, I have also used the term post-productivism. I tried very hard not to use any familiar term from received wisdom, but it's not possible. So I took this term, and in the paper, you would see that I have tried to kind of give certain features to it of our own post-productionism, if we would have that. So there they're talking about the degrowth, they're talking about reconnecting social with the economic and returning the resources, particularly land, to the local communities with the objective of ecological modernization. Naseem Sadiq sir was also talking about that. Now, there is a conversation of a second modernity. You see, there would be many people here who must have come across this term, modernity paradox. Hayek says that there's a macrocosm and there is a microcosm. Macrocosm, which is the market. There you have market and profit as the major driving principles, but we must stop as a humanity to the permeation of these values in the household. That's the microcosm. So how to do it, that is the major paradox of modernity. Now, are we dissociating food from land? That is the major question. Then what is our model in that? So my approach in this paper has been to show you certain cross-sections of the reality, try to explain that and suggest an analytical framework, talk about the conclusions, and I look forward to the comments of the discussants. Okay. Yeah, we would quickly go through it. This slide is based on the data provided by NIP as a background. So we all know, we have talked about it. But I'll quickly say that we have defined wheat as a social good. Government is withdrawing. Already our indicators are in a bad shape. This is the worst time to further liberalize and financialize. And already how are our poor households coping with the situation? We should all know they are coping through child labor, crime, low quality jobs, particularly for youth and women, household indebtedness, increase in begging, dependence on charity. Now there can we usher in a real green revolution? That is the thing. Now these again stylized data. We already know that Pakistan is an outlier in South Asia in terms of cost of healthy diet, in terms of population who cannot afford healthy diet. It's 82% as compared to 66% in Bangladesh. And food security in Pakistan and Bangladesh, taking slightly longer perspective, has steeply increased. In Pakistan, you can see the graph, and this is important that we need to disaggregate the data, that what is happening actually to different quintiles. So what is happening to the poorest quintile 1? Wheat is critical. Wheat is 18% of the household expenditure. And if we take the perspective of general expenditure, in Pakistan, the expenditure on food is very high. That is typical for a poor country like ours. And we have a provincial food security dimension also. Balochistan is the worst of province. And inflation, we all know that what is the story of inflation. Inflation is going down, but more steeply in Bangladesh and India. Now, how have I looked at this in my own paper? I believe Pakistan is undergoing what is technically defined as a capitalist operation. Now, there is a lot of literature on that how does it actually work? Usually, it is in the name of efficiency, that you financialize whatever your target is. And in our case, the distribution of value. If farmer is producing wheat, farmer should capture the maximum value, or the consumer. But what is happening here is other way around. So I don't have time, but the key terms which I have used in my own analytical framework: efficiency is a trap. There is a subtle difference in Pakistan. We don't have a social market economy. We have a nationalist social economy. Now, this is a critical difference. Pakistan was made in a certain context where it was promised that the people who are here or who would come here, they would be taken care of by the state. We never had left motivated social market economy as Europe had. That is why our constitution is so high on these social promises. So there, the responsibility of state in terms of taking forward the nationalist social economy is extremely important. Now, feedback shutdown buttons, if we had all those scary data that Dr. Shajat is also talking about, why are we not shutting down the efficiency button? Why are we not stopping this capitalist operation in its tracks? And easy rescue is recognized in international law as a right of people. Are we helping people in terms of easy rescue? I guess not. Now, the hypothesis is that wheat is the latest target of a capitalist operation, with financialization as the major mechanism in the name of efficiency. And then, if we go into the detail of financialization, it depends, the perversity of financialization would depend on the nature of drivers, who is deploying those drivers, what are the intentions of those economic actors. So there we don't have a consensus. That's why we continue on the road which is leading nowhere. So we need a consensus on the nature of the combined effects of financialization, digitalization, and globalization. We still have export committees made by the government which have super liberalizers as their members. So what is the real new green revolution, and what is the kind of social politics needed? Can't we really see that the economic actors who are financializing the wheat supply chains, they are getting rents by hoarding, by price gouging, by using fintech, and it suits the politicians because this has allowed a new social politics, a new politics of welfare, where you can have permanent constituencies whom you support on the basis of state exchequer and get votes from them. Now, this is more academic. I have to respect the chair, who is my friend also. So this paper should be available to all who are interested. The new impetus on food security coming from the north after Ukraine crisis, that needs to be studied at depth, that what is happening and how our local capitalist is joining hand with the geostrategic interest and the international capital at the cost of war. So now we need to reconceptualize the social world. For us, wheat is not any other commodity. It's not cut flowers. It's not even cotton. The wheat is the social life of the majority of the farmers. That is, we don't use the word mother like they use in the neighborhood, motherland, but ultimate sustenance to the family, to the household is given by the land. That's why land as an asset has been important. That's why we insist on definancializing the whole system and letting farmer at least have wheat for its own sake, which is not happening. Now, the rural economy, we all know, has changed. I wish I had much more time, but with cash crops doing well, connectivity improving a lot, a market civilization with uniform habits of fund consumption, the rural economy is now in the process of being highly servitized. Now, that is the process which is happening, and there we don't have the romantic post-productionism that in Europe people are returning to the countryside to have a better cultural life and relax closer to nature and ecological modernization. Our rural areas are being conquered by the city people with the help of money to chill, to have recreation, to have theme parks, to have all the kind of modern services which the moneyed people need to have wherever they are. So we see a phenomenon of gentrification of our rural areas, and the social word of wheat as the land-based sustenance in countryside is losing to fast-paced financialization, financialized exchanges, making the household with limited access very vulnerable. Now, if we continue on this path, which are the major implications, that is a kind of a prediction bet that would this happen in Pakistan in the coming years or not. This is my second last slide, I show you. So now if we continue with that, you see, once you financialize, the notion of surplus changes. The notion of surplus becomes contested. The All Pakistan Cereal Exporters Association is insisting on the government, the federal government, that you allow the export of wheat in April when it's surplus, and then we would import when it's short. What's the big deal? So that's what's happening. Our wheat economy has been dollarized. I don't have time to explain, but it has its own. And finally, what happens in any capitalist operation, that you monopolize the benefits and you socialize the losses, which is happening in the process. You are dehumanizing the farmer and the social market economy. Once you end the social market economy, the social harmony goes out of the window, and we all know the consequences. So if we don't shut down the efficiency button, despite the severe food insecurity risks, severe social unrest in the country. Now, what do you conclude out of all this? Number one, a large part of food inflation in Pakistan is manufactured. We do talk about the natural causes, Ukraine and this and that, but one thing. If we continue with that, we would enter into the phase of what is called hyper-capitalism. That is number two. You see, look what Kamala Harris is saying. The headline of its economic policy is food security for the ordinary American households. Simple. Look what has happened in France also. And you see the dialectic. When Kamala Harris came with this economic policy, what did Trump say? She's a communist. Now, for him, she gets out of the American system. And the same was said in France when the businesses aligned with the extreme right in France, and the businesses said that what left of Mélenchon is saying, if it happens, France would exit capitalism. So now that's the kind of international experience, what is happening at the international level. We are in the process of liquefying the farmer's household life, and we can still save ourselves if we definancialize the provision of staple food, health, and criminal justice system. Then we can perhaps have the some green shoots of our own post-productionism. So, for God's sake, leave the staple food out of the capitalist operation. Thank you very much.